You are the hero of your own journey, but for far too long, you've carried an invisible enemy, scarcity. It doesn't arrive dramatically. It grows quietly, starting as a concern, becoming a fear, and eventually shaping your entire routine. Perhaps you grew up hearing phrases like money is hard, life is for those who suffer, or you can't have everything. Without realizing it, those words became internal walls that limited your vision, your choices, and your results. The tension rises when you notice that no matter how hard you try, something seems to pull you back. For every financial gain, an unexpected expense. For every opportunity, a wave of insecurity. For every dream, an inner voice saying the timing isn't right. It's as if there's a hidden program inside you, one that keeps you repeating patterns you never consciously chose. This cycle is exhausting, isn't it? You work tirelessly. You save diligently. Perhaps even intellectually understand the concept of budgeting and investing, yet you find yourself standing still, perpetually anxious about the arrival of the next bill or the next inevitable dip in your bank account balance. That heavy feeling in your stomach when the credit card statement arrives, that is not merely stress about numbers. It is a manifestation of a deep psychological friction. It's the conflict between the abundant life your conscious mind desires and the life of limitation that your subconscious mind is actively constructing. Let us stop pretending that money is just math. Money is emotion. It is history. It is a mirror reflecting your deepest fears of unworthiness and instability. Think about the last time you received a significant sum of money, perhaps a bonus or an unexpected payment. Did you allow yourself to feel purely joyful and secure? Or did a frantic energy immediately kick in, compelling you to spend it quickly, hoard it out of sight, or immediately worry about how little time it would last? This instantaneous shift from hope to fear is the psychological fingerprint of scarcity programming. It is a belief that safety is temporary and that wealth must be immediately neutralized or complicated. We spend our lives running from debt, chasing security, only to realize we are running on an emotional treadmill. The truth we must confront today is this. Your financial struggles are not a failure of effort. They are a breakdown in emotional alignment. You deserve compassion for carrying this invisible burden. You did not choose this programming, but you have the power to choose your deprogramming. Our first step is simply to acknowledge the pain, the shame, and the deep, silent fear that shadows every financial decision. This acknowledgement is not resignation. It is a necessary foundation for transformation, where we begin to dismantle the internal conflict that has held your potential captive for far too long. We are going beyond budgeting. We are healing the core relationship with money itself. The question then becomes, where did this program originate? Understanding the source of your financial behavior is the key to neutralizing its power. Your current relationship with money is largely a direct echo of your childhood environment, what we call your money blueprint. Think back. What was the ambient emotional climate around finances when you were growing up? Was money discussed openly and neutrally, or was it a source of silent tension, secret worries, or loud arguments? For many of us, money was associated with stress, disappointment, or judgment. Maybe you heard, or perhaps still hear, the pervasive message that success requires relentless struggle, or conversely, that people who are truly wealthy must be inherently immoral or greedy. Your young, impressionable brain took these statements not as opinions, but as undisputed laws of the universe. This forms the basis of your subconscious programming. Every time you now approach a major investment, ask for a raise, or even consider starting a business, your limbic system, your emotional command center, instantly flashes back to those early associations. Fear is activated, not because the current opportunity is genuinely threatening, but because the memory of scarcity feels physically dangerous. This is why mere willpower fails. You cannot simply decide to be abundant when your internal neurological network is wired for self-protection against the perceived danger of wealth. To move past the stage of awareness, we must recognize the three primary modes of operation dictated by scarcity programming. First, the hoarder, who sees money as protection and paralyzes it through fear of loss. Second, The sabotager, who unconsciously creates debt or sudden expenses to relieve the existential discomfort of having too much. And third, the avoidant, who simply refuses to look at the numbers, operating under the myth that ignorance provides peace. Identifying your primary mode is not about self-criticism. It is about objective observation. This awareness separates the behavior from your core identity. You are not a financially anxious person. You are a whole person currently operating within an anxious financial program. The work now shifts from managing transactions to deconstructing the narrative. We need to shine a deliberate light on those hidden rules you've been following. The rules that tell you what you can have, what you deserve, and how hard it must be to earn it. By acknowledging these ancestral and cultural imprints, we reclaim the power to consciously install a new, adaptive operating system. Now we move from awareness to active deconstruction. We must face the core limiting beliefs head-on and neutralize them by introducing new, powerful truths. These limiting beliefs are the financial myths that keep millions trapped. Let us examine 3 of the most crippling myths and replace them immediately. The first myth is, wealth requires unethical behavior or sacrifice. This stems from the cultural narrative that success demands cutting corners or exhausting oneself into burnout. The liberating truth is, wealth is a result of serving others ethically and mastering high-leverage skills. Prosperity is not a zero-sum game. It is an amplification of positive impact. The second myth is, I must struggle to be worthy of money. This belief links self-worth directly to suffering, making any ease or flow feel suspicious. The liberating truth is, I am inherently worthy of receiving abundance effortlessly when I am in genuine flow and alignment. Your worth is intrinsic. It is not earned through financial penance. The final and arguably most destructive myth is, there is not enough for me. This is pure scarcity thinking. The liberating truth is, the world is abundant and my ability to attract resources is limitless, constrained only by my willingness to receive. To break these myths isn't just about reciting affirmations. It's about introducing cognitive dissonance, forcing your brain to accept a new reality. Every time that familiar, anxious thought surfaces, you must consciously intercept it. For example, when you think, I cannot afford that, immediately reframe it to, how can I create the value necessary to afford that? This is a shift from victimhood to agency. We are training your neural pathways to seek possibility instead of confirming limitation. This requires repetition and emotional weight. Affirmations work best when they feel true, even if only slightly. Start small. Instead of saying, I am a millionaire, if you don't believe it, say, I am becoming increasingly financially stable every single day. Or, I am grateful for the wealth I currently possess and the wealth that is on its way. This blending of gratitude for the present and possibility for the future is the engine of reprogram belief. This is a stage where we stop arguing with our limiting beliefs and start building a fortress of empowering truths. The mind is a garden. Simply removing weeds is not enough. You must cultivate the new growth daily. This brings us to the practical daily shifts that turn intellectual understanding into embodied reality. True mindset shift is achieved through consistent habit. I want you to introduce 3 non-negotiable practices into your financial routine, starting today. First, the daily financial gratitude practice. Spend 5 minutes every morning and 5 minutes every evening actively appreciating every piece of money that flows into or through your life. Thank the money you spend for the value it buys you, and thank the money you receive for the opportunity it represents. This shifts your energy from resistance, fear of loss, to reception, appreciation of flow. Second, the prosperity visualization. This is not passive wishing. It is neurological rehearsal. Close your eyes and vividly imagine, in sensory detail, what it feels like to pay a major bill easily, to see your savings grow, or to make a generous contribution. Focus on the emotional state, the deep exhale of relief, the feeling of empowerment, the lightness. This practice conditions your body to recognize abundance as a safe and familiar state. Third, conscious spending/investment journaling. Stop using financial tracking merely to audit past mistakes. Use it as a tool for present empowerment. When you spend money, briefly write down the intention behind that purchase. Did this expense align with your highest values? When you invest time or money, affirm the future value it will create. This exercise transforms the act of transaction from a mindless habit into a conscious act of creation, reinforcing the idea that you are in control of your resources and directing them toward intentional outcomes. Mindset shifts are not magical. They are incremental neurological rewiring achieved through deliberate, daily practices that bridge the gap between your ideal self and your current actions. As these actions take root, something profound begins to happen. Your identity changes. You stop seeing yourself as someone chasing money and start recognizing yourself as someone who attracts and manages money well. This is the stage of empowerment and identity. Financial self-mastery is not about the size of your bank account. It is about emotional maturity and the ethical stewardship of resources. The new identity you are claiming is that of the conscious steward. A conscious steward understands that prosperity is tied to purpose. Money is simply energy, an amplifier. If you are a kind, purpose-driven, and ethical person, more money allows you to amplify those qualities. If you are stressed, fearful, and anxious, more money simply amplifies stress, fear, and anxiety. Therefore, true abundance requires emotional maturity. It demands that you heal the wounds that make you feel guilty about success, and that you embrace the responsibility that comes with increased capacity. The fear of success is often just a fear of responsibility, the fear that you will fail when the stakes are higher, or the fear that wealth will isolate you. We must sever this connection. Wealth, when handled consciously, provides freedom, security, and the ability to serve the world from a place of overflow, not obligation. Claim your new financial identity by speaking about money in a way that reflects this new reality. Replace terms like debt burden with financial commitment strategy. Replace "I can't afford that" with "that is not aligned with my current investment priorities." Speak the language of the successful, responsible steward you are becoming. Your external reality will reorganize to match the internal structure you project. This identity shift allows you to move beyond basic survival instincts and start thinking in terms of contribution, legacy, and exponential growth. You are no longer defined by your current balance sheet. You are defined by your commitment to continuous financial evolution and the positive impact you intend to create. The final, essential step is to integrate this new self-concept so deeply that scarcity becomes an obsolete memory. This journey culminates in permanent reprogramming and unwavering commitment. We have covered the cycle of scarcity, the origin of beliefs, the reframing of myths, the implementation of action, and the claiming of a new identity. Now, we seal the contract with yourself. Reprogramming the subconscious requires commitment and repetition, especially when old habits threaten to resurface during stressful times. To solidify your transformation, I want you to perform a final, powerful visualization that anchors this new state of being. Close your eyes for a moment. Take a deep, cleansing breath and exhale all remaining anxiety about money. Inhale confidence, competence, and calm. Now, imagine yourself 1 year from now, fully embodying the identity of the conscious steward. Feel the difference in your body. The tension in your shoulders is gone, replaced by a grounded, steady energy. Financial decisions are made from a place of clarity and confidence, not panic or impulsivity. See yourself handling a large transaction, perhaps signing documents for a new investment, or viewing your robust savings account. Notice that there is no shame, no guilt, only profound gratitude and calm stewardship. Repeat this powerful core affirmation silently. I am safe. I am worthy. I am aligned with the flow of infinite abundance. I am a powerful creator of value, and wealth flows to me effortlessly through integrity and service. Commit right now to treating money as a respected partner, not a volatile enemy. Every single day, consciously choose alignment over anxiety. Choose growth over guilt. Choose possibility over paralysis. This video marks the beginning of your financial liberation. You are not created to live in fear, doubt, debt or limitation. You were created to grow, expand, and prosper. Go forward now, grounded in the knowledge that your financial destiny is not dictated by history, but by the conscious, powerful choice you're making today to claim your true, abundant identity. The work continues, but the core shift is complete. The realization that financial self-mastery is inextricably linked to emotional maturity opens a pathway to exploring the concept of wealth ecology. This is not merely about individual actions. It's about recognizing that your personal financial energy exists within a network of exchanges. Consider the notion of the abundance filter. Every interaction, every dollar spent or received, passes through this filter, which is calibrated by your core beliefs about deservedness. If that filter is clogged with residual guilt, perhaps the lingering, unexamined shame about having more than your parents did, or the discomfort with setting healthy boundaries around your time and energy, it will automatically diminish the incoming flow. This phenomenon often manifests as success anxiety, where hitting a new financial milestone immediately triggers an internal panic, compelling self-sabotage to return to the more familiar, if uncomfortable, state of just enough. A critical layer of this identity shift involves recalibrating your relationship with external financial validation. For many, net worth becomes a substitute for self-worth. When the market dips or a client relationship ends, the individual feels a profound, almost existential threat because their identity is outsourced to external metrics. To counter this, we introduce the principle of intrinsic value banking. This practice involves deliberately tracking and celebrating non-monetary achievements that contribute to your overall well-being and life quality. Things like mastering a new skill, deepening a significant relationship, maintaining physical health, or completing a passion project. The objective is to build an unshakable inner reservoir of value that remains untouched by the fluctuations of the external economy. When your sense of competency is rooted in your inherent capacity for growth and creation, financial setbacks become merely data points requiring strategic correction rather than catastrophic threats to your self-concept. Furthermore, true empowerment necessitates moving beyond transactional thinking towards strategic, long-term alignment. Many people, even after achieving a level of success, maintain a hustle mentality, confusing frenetic activity with genuine productivity. This approach is unsustainable and often leads to decision fatigue and poor long-term planning, simply because the underlying emotional program still fears a cessation of effort. Conversely, the conscious steward understands that wealth is maintained and grown through systems delegation and focused high-impact work. Now, reflect on your current calendar. Are you consistently spending time on tasks that only generate incremental income? Or are you dedicating significant blocks to planning, learning, and creating scalable value? If you're still trading hours for dollars out of an unconscious fear that if you stop working, the flow will cease, you are still operating from the old identity. The new identity trusts the robustness of the systems it builds and respects the need for rejuvenation, viewing rest not as a luxury or a punishment, but as a critical component of sustainable financial creativity. Another crucial facet of this advanced stage is the ethical component of prosperity, moving from mere accumulation to conscious contribution. When you embrace the identity of a steward, you inherently commit to using your resources to enhance the lives of others and the world around you. This is a positive feedback loop of abundance. Financial psychology shows that generosity is not a drain on resources. It is an energetic declaration of sufficiency. When you give intentionally, whether through philanthropy, ethical employment practices, or supporting valuable causes, you reinforce a subconscious belief that you have more than enough. This isn't about mandatory tithing. It is about cultivating a spirit of flow and circulation. This practice fundamentally alters the scarcity perception that money is something to be rigidly held and defended, transforming it instead into a circulating force that gains power as it moves through your life and outward. This intentional circulation activates what neuroscientists call the helper's high, aligning positive emotional states with financial activity, thereby making the acquisition and maintenance of wealth intrinsically rewarding, not guilt-inducing. Consequently, the former anxiety about having too much is replaced by the purposeful focus on doing the most good with the resources entrusted to you. The ultimate measure of your self-mastery is not how much you keep, but how wisely you circulate what you receive. This full-circle perspective solidifies the identity of the steward, one who is both worthy of receiving and responsible in giving. Imagine standing at the mouth of an ancient, locked vault you never knew you were guarding. Inside, you always suspected there was only dust or danger, the silent inheritance of old fears, the echoes of intergenerational anxieties regarding scarcity. For years, you navigated life believing the vault's contents dictated your every movement, forcing you to step lightly, choose cautiously, and always defer to the implied limitations of its hidden decree. This invisible weight defined your horizon, turning potential into a perpetual state of postponement. You observed your external world, waiting for a key to materialize, unaware that the lock wasn't external at all. The mechanism was wired directly into your deepest conviction about what you inherently deserved. The true revelation comes when you realize the sheer inertia required to maintain that state of perpetual defense. You were investing more neurological and emotional energy into defending against potential loss than you were into cultivating deliberate, joyful gain. That defensive crouch, that constant state of alertness surrounding every financial decision, was a real barrier, a self-imposed psychological ceiling. Now, having meticulously engaged the process of dismantling the deep-seated code that manufactured that anxiety, you find yourself straightening up. The emotional atmosphere around your resources begins to clear, like the thickest mist receding from a vast coastal town at dawn. It is a moment of profound psychological disarmament, where the need to constantly fight against an imagined enemy dissipates entirely. Reflecting on this journey so far, recognize that this shift transcends mere intellectual understanding. You haven't simply learned new concepts. You have performed a fundamental internal recalibration. You have transitioned from being a passive recipient of your history to becoming the active sovereign of your emotional reality. The tools and frameworks we have explored, the deliberate reframing, the intentional anchoring of gratitude, the commitment to conscious stewardship, have converged not just as isolated habits, but as the integrated operating system of a flourishing identity. This integration creates an internal alignment, a state of dynamic resonance. This is a tectonic shift from simply reacting to external variables, the unforeseen repair bill, the fluctuating market, to occupying a sustainable state of internal governance. You have moved beyond playing defense and are now actively architecting the structure of your own prosperity. It is no longer about desperately forcing a square peg into a round hole. It is about recognizing that your clarified internal vibration is the shape of the aperture. The necessary resources, the catalytic opportunities, the right collaborative connections, they are not elusive entities that must be relentlessly chased. They merely respond to precise frequency you now transmit. When the inner circuitry is clean, when the signal is clear and unmarred by the static of inherited guilt or fear, the necessary flow becomes inevitable. It is the difference between frantically chasing a departing train and standing calmly on the platform, knowing you designed the entire rail system for optimum efficiency and predictable arrival. You are witnessing the cumulative effect of emotional labor transforming into tangible freedom. That former tension, the constant internal conversation questioning your worthiness to hold wealth, has been replaced by a quiet, deep-seated confidence that recognizes the inherent cyclical nature of abundance. Your work has been to heal the core relationship, allowing you to view money not as a source of stress, but as a neutral, powerful tool of amplification and service. The ground beneath you feels solid now. You are ready to fully step into the landscape you have cleared, prepare to claim the sustained evolution that follows deep personal transformation. This readiness is not a temporary surge of motivation. It is a grounded stability of self that has finally integrated its emotional truth with its financial potential. The final stage awaits, the anchoring of this new self into permanence. The journey we have taken together is fundamentally one of reclaiming sovereignty. We began by acknowledging the quiet tyranny of scarcity, that inherited script that whispered limitations into your potential. Now, having meticulously disassembled that invisible enemy, we stand at the threshold of a new financial reality, one built not on fear of loss, but on the certainty of flow. The core insight gleaned from this transformation is profoundly simple. Abundance is not something you chase. It is a natural consequence of internal coherence. It is the external manifestation of having finally reconciled your self-worth with your net worth. The final, lasting impact of this work rests in the understanding that your financial situation is the clearest feedback loop available regarding your internal state. It is a mirror, not a scoreboard. When you look into that mirror now, you are no longer seeing the reflection of your parents' anxieties or society's arbitrary definitions of struggle. You are seeing the face of the conscious steward, someone who recognizes money as a clean, ethical resource designed to amplify positive impact. The true victory here isn't a specific dollar figure. It is the unshakable peace that settles into your spirit when you check your bank balance and feel grounded security instead of adrenaline-fueled panic. This internal realignment shifts your entire posture toward the future. You move from the posture of the supplicant, always begging the universe for a break, to the posture of the collaborator, actively co-creating with opportunity. The scarcity mindset trained you to focus on the shrinking pie. The abundance mindset empowers you to participate in baking new pies altogether. This is the ultimate form of self-mastery, recognizing that the only durable limit to your financial expansion is the limit you impose on your own capacity to receive, contribute, and innovate. Do not, however, mistake this liberation for a destination. Financial self-mastery is an ongoing evolution, a continuous commitment to integrity, both personal and financial. The old programs will occasionally send tempting flare-ups of anxiety, especially during moments of unexpected market volatility or significant personal gain. Your commitment now is to treat these flare-ups not as failures, but as opportunities for deeper integration. When the doubt whispers, you now have the tools and the embodied memory of the conscious steward to respond with clarity and confidence. You now respond, I am safe, and I am committed to conscious stewardship, allowing the deep breath of truth to neutralize the old, reactive fear. The most powerful implication of this entire psychological shift is the realization that your true value creation lies not in what you do, but in who you become in the process. The financially liberated self is simply the most authentic version of yourself, unburdened by ancient shame, free to contribute your unique gifts to the world without the exhausting tax of scarcity. Carry this final thought with you. You have permanently rewritten the foundational code. You are no longer navigating the world as someone who survives. You are operating as someone who thrives. Step forward with a calm certainty that you are deserving of profound prosperity, ethically earned and joyfully circulated. The world awaits the amplified, empowered impact of the person you become. Go build your life, not from fear, but from flow. Your financial destiny is now fully and beautifully your own.